How do I access my modem's GUI when it's in bridged mode? I wanted to try setting up my ActionTech P5001A DSL-modem/router in bridged mode with the Linksys E2500 router for improved NAT performance. Switching the modem to bridged mode and the router to PO worked perfectly, but now I seem to have no way to access the modem GUI if I want to do things like turn off its wireless antenna. I was also thinking about disabling its NAT and DHCP functions, although those are even relevant when it's in bridged mode. I've tried accessing it through the original IP address it used, 192.168.0.1, both through the router and directly plugged into one of the modem's Ethernet ports, but it seems to be no longer accessible through an IP address. Is there a workaround for restoring the modem's default settings or another method to access the GUI besides through a browser using an IP address? Thanks for any suggestions.
How do I access my modem's GUI when it's in bridge mode? The few I've used, when in bridge mode, have no web interface or IP. Maybe yours does. With those, you have to reset it holding the reset pin to get to the web interface, and that takes it out of bridge mode. With yours, there may be other ways, but you can reset it too like that and get out of bridge mode into a web interface. No way to access the modem GUI if I want to do things like turn off its wireless antenna. I was also thinking about disabling its NAT and DHCP functions, although those are even relevant when it's in bridge mode. With ones I've used, NAT and DHCP definitely aren't done when it's in bridge mode. I can't comment on others. I'd be surprised if it did wireless, but you can check just to make 100% sure. If you know the SSID, which you'd need to know how to connect to your own router when it's in regular mode, then look for that SSID to see if it's broadcasting. I'm sure you'll find that's off too, in any of these devices when in bridge mode. I suppose you could also prove that it's not doing that, with a tracert command tracert www.google.com and look for private IP addresses like 192.168 or 10.0, and you should only see one of them. If double NAT, I suppose you'd see two. Note: I have edited my answer. My previous answer said when it's in bridge mode it has no web interface, no IP. I removed that since it's false for DDWRT and possibly false for some makes/models. The other answer says no, however that's not true either. I know this to be the case, the web interface turning off when in bridging mode, with some router/modem/switches, specifically with at least some Belkin ones. For example, this URL as mentioned here, if the Belkin is correctly set to bridge mode you cannot enter its GUI web interface, as it is just a modem. It is true of DDWRT that you can still access the web interface, though quite likely that his particular make/model can, as the other answer claims to have used similar models to the op, and says you can, i.e. you can with his. Though the other answer then talks about DDWRT, which the op may not be running. And the other answer doesn't specify what is going on with the op's device if he has no access to his web interface.
I am appalled at the misinformation in the accepted answer. While I have no experience with the ActionTech P5001A, I do have experience with half a dozen similar devices, and they all work the same way when in bridged mode. When it's in bridge mode it has no web interface, no IP. Wrong. It has the same default IP address, 192.168.0.1, and the same web interface is waiting to be used. However, there is no route to the network, so you cannot reach 192.168.0.1 unless you tell your router to route to it. I have installed DDWRT on my Linksys E4200 router. It is available for the E2500 as well. Make sure that the E2500 network is anything but 192.168.0.1, then point your web browser to the router's management UI. Click on Administration. In the command entry field, enter. Click Save Startup. In the command entry field, enter. Click Save Firewall. Reboot the router. You have just given the router the IP address 192.168.0.2, which is on the same network as the bridged modem, and instructed it to route packets to that network. From any device on your network you can now log into the bridged modem's UI with
In case of ARIS routers, such as the DG1670, when in bridged mode the UI is available at this URL. Managed to find my GUI and new address. This URL, original was 192.168.0.1 before bridged mode, logged in and turned it back to router mode, and after waiting it to reset clicked network internet access logo on desktop and their troubleshoot problems. This video helped me. This URL.
또 유아비트 스포츠 터치널 플리거 시가 섭스라이딩